Peace and magic. Welcome to Word Origins with Lucifer, part 15. And on this part, we are going to continue from the last part of part 14, which was explaining astrology. In this part, we are going to get deeper into that. So this one is going to be called Reincarnation and Karmic Debt. So, in essence, this episode is going to be talking about pretty much how life works, the life cycle, and all that good shit on how, we have deja vu. It's going to all be logically explained or whatnot. So, before we get into this, reincarnation is kind of a very deep word, and I feel like we should know it in order to continue along this journey or whatnot, because as we continue to advance, the world around us continues to fall. So reincarnation, the word origin for reincarnation is re, which is re, and the meaning of re means again, so to happen again or whatever. So now ask yourself this question: have you lived this life before? Because a lot of people get reincarnation confused with being a male in another life or being a female within another life or whatever. But it's that's kind of backwards ass thinking. It logically makes no sense if you really sit down and break down all of these words or whatever. And we're going to get into it because it's a lot of words that we have to break down in order to understand reincarnation and karmic debt. It's pretty much the background of how life itself works. So we're going to be explaining what happens to us when we pass away and all that good shit, and explaining the system in the spiritual world or the astral world or whatever. So reincarnation, the oldest religion was probably one of the first ones that talked about reincarnation religion wise was Hinduism. And Hinduism was created in India or whatever by the Persian or Indo-Aryan people or whatever. They pretty much took this knowledge from the native melanated people and took the same land or whatever. So pretty much the same story that we got with slavery and how melanated people are the natives of all of this land on earth or whatever. But the story was rechanged that all of these other people who now live on these lands or whatever acquired all this information. No, they just stole it, took the shit and started rocking it the way that they wanted to rock it, pretty much. So yeah, so pretty much the oldest religion that talks about reincarnation is Hinduism. And then I'm really finna put y'all on right now. It's a word that a lot of melanated people use all the time, but don't even realize it's of a Hindu origin. And it's the word thug. Thug is a Hindu magic word. So if y'all really want to know what it is, I'm going to give y'all a homework assignment. I want y'all to look up the word origin of thug. So, okay, now let's really get back to the point. We're going off topic, but please look up that word thug. Y'all gonna learn some new shit just by looking that up. But no, you have not lived a past life. If you're a male listening to this, you infinitely have lived a male. Even in your past life, you have infinitely lived as a male. If you're a female, you have infinitely lived as a female, even in your past life. No, you're not. You was never an opposite sex in the past life. The reason why people believe that is what they feel on the inside, but a lot of people don't realize, I speak about this in the earlier videos. I don't know if it was part 4 or 5, but it was relationship dynamics or whatever. But I kind of explained the duality of people or whatever. A male, our spirit is feminine and our physical is masculine. And the female, her spirit is masculine and her physical energy is feminine or whatever. So that's why we got a lot of homosexual people in the world, people confused about what sex they supposed to be. It's because they're not embracing themselves and living to their true self. But that's the story for another day. I just had to remind you all or whatever, not to be confused about a lot of things that's like really in front of your face or whatever. So it's like we have lived this life before infinitely, and we will live the same life again infinitely, meaning at this moment, the thoughts in your head, you listening to this video, you have listened to it before in previous infinite lives, and you're going to listen to it again in future infinite lives. Like everything, like ain't no such thing as coincidence. Y'all gotta shake that off. Like there's no such thing as coincidence. Everything happens for a reason. Keep that mindset and that perspective. Literally everything happens for a reason. So reincarnation, pretty much. Okay, let's talk about other words related towards life and death. So we can look up the word origin of life, and thankfully I already did that for y'all. So the word origin of life is body and also to live. So pretty much life means in order to be alive, you have to have a body, a physical body to be alive. So that's what being alive means. It means body, physical body. And death. Death is total cessation of life or ghost. And to the people who's listening who don't know what cessation is, cessation word origin means cease, means to stop of life or whatever. And so your next question probably would be like, okay, so what does that mean with ghost in it? Like, believe it or not, the word origin of ghost is spirit or soul. And this really finna fuck y'all mind up right here. So death is total cease of life or ghost, and ghost means spirit or soul. So what does spirit mean exactly? So as we dive deeper into this, it's like learning stuff is like constantly deep diving in the water. Like, okay, you get to a certain point or whatever, and you just be like, okay, so what next? Like, go deeper. Like, that's all you got to do is just keep going below the surface, deeper and deeper, and shit start to make sense or whatever. So spirit, so the word origin of spirit equals breath, and breath equals exhale or sting. And this word caught me by surprise, exhale. It caught me by surprise. Like, this is the reason why it took me so long to get this part out, because when I try to do my parts of word origins, whatever, I try to make sure it's on the storyline or whatever. Like, it's flowing well. So it's like I have to constantly look up definitions or whatever, not even definition, word origins, to make sure it all connects and makes sense to me. Because if it makes sense to me, then I can easily present it to make sense to you as well with logic. So exhale, spirit, the word origin of spirit equals exhale. So when you exhale, you breathe out or whatever. And that's why a lot of people say that shit all the time. Like, be careful of what you put into the world. Be careful. Like, that's pretty much what they saying. Spirit, like, when you breathe, you put shit into the world or whatever. You really do. Like, it's influence. The things that you put out there are influence, because magic and anti-magic is real, regardless if people want to acknowledge it or not. It's still gonna take effect, because that's just how the universe works. Like, this shit don't stop for me, you, or anybody else. It's gonna continue to do its thing how it was designed and created to do or whatever. But people gonna think this shit is very complicated to understand, because people are so fixated on the physical. And what I mean by the physical, like, in the physical, they have depth systems or whatever, which is, money is not a real thing. Like, it's really not. And the reason why society is so fucked up or whatever is because people do things for money instead of doing shit out of love. And because they want to do it, they do it for money. And that fucks up people all the way around. Regardless of how much money you ever get in life, you're not going to be happy because you have money. Like, it's too many examples to show, like depressed celebrities and depressed rich people who not happy in life. So that just goes to show you, like, money don't mean a goddamn thing. It don't. It don't. Like, they literally took the currency system in the physical world and tried to mimic karmic debt. Karmic debt is pretty much the scales of justice. And so, and first off, like, let's ask ourselves, what first off, what is karma? So karma is pretty much an action, effect, or fate, or whatever. Meaning it's the things that you do that have an effect on your fate, or whatever. So that's what karma is. So then you put karmic, then you add debt. So it's something owed, or whatever. So it's like, really, if you pretty much, like, the universe give us life, right? Correct? So pretty much we're in debt to the universe for giving us life. So meaning the universe is like, pretty much we work for the universe. So when I mean work, meaning we all have a job, we all have a purpose that the universe has presented to us, or whatever. But it's like, when it comes to karmic debt, or whatever, you got good karma and you got bad karma. Good karma is when you're in heaven. And yes, you can be in heaven on earth. You can be, like, you don't have to, like, and that's the true tranquility of life, when you learn how to reach heaven on earth. Because once you reach heaven on earth, you're going to make it to heaven in the afterlife. Because heaven is just paradise and tranquility within yourself. So it's up to you to protect that tranquility in yourself by fulfilling your purpose in life and going down your life path. But bad karma, this is how the universe works. It's good and bad karma. Bad karma is hell. And yes, people, yes, hell does exist. It does exist. It exists in the physical state and it exists in the spiritual state, or whatever. So if you have good karmic debt when you pass, then your soul is able to freely roam the universe. But if you have bad karmic debt when you pass over to the other side, then you pretty much just, like, can't roam freely as you want. You have to stay stationary with the other bad karmic debt people, or whatever. That's just how the universe works. Like, you put in, whatever you put in is what you're going to get back, is what you're going to be, is what you're going to earn. So if you earn your way into hell, hey, by all means, that's the spot that's the spot that you got to go to, because you didn't fulfill your life's purpose. If you're in heaven, then hey, that's the spot you're designated to go to because you fulfilled your life purpose. But at the same time, don't get content with being in heaven. Like, spiritual karma or karmic debt is something that you have to keep constantly working at. Like, just because you in heaven don't mean you can't get kicked out of heaven and get sent to hell. Like, you have to keep your karma debt in the positives. And it's like, right now, you're starting to see who has a negative karmic debt or a positive karmic debt. And that's how reincarnation, all that shit play into effect as well. It goes off this karmic debt system. Because if you have a negative karmic debt, then you're just going to keep replaying the same hellish life over and over and over and over infinitely. It's just torturing yourself infinitely. But a lot of people got a chance to change this shit as the progression of the universal timeline goes on, but people don't realize this shit. They really don't realize this shit. So you're going to always have the same people in heaven because they're the ones who realize that they have a choice in the matter. But the ones in hell don't realize this shit, which is why they're in hell. They are being contained to keep from fucking the whole universe up and how the system works. And that's what pretty much reincarnation and karmic debt come into play, is because you reincarnate based on your karmic debt, like your paths and all that, like all that run hand in hand. It runs hand in hand. And it's like another thing, like the word that's like most important to me that I kind of thought of about this whole, journey of gathering this information for this video was afterlife. It was like the word that just kept popping up and popping up over and again. So if somebody was to tell you afterlife, your first thought that come to mind is pretty much what happens to me after I die. or whatever. And so pretty much the word origin of a afterlife is a future life. A future life. Now I'm trying to formulate it in a way that you all will understand what it means, because it's kind of tricky or whatever. Like the word is afterlife, but the meaning of it is a future life or whatever. So pretty much this is like telling you, like, even once you pass on for this realm, you still have a future life, which is reincarnation. You still can come back to this earth when it's your time and prove to the universe that you can fulfill your purpose or whatever. But the thing is, with fulfilling your purpose, like, a lot of people don't realize, like, you have to be aware on your path in life. And the awareness comes with, like, good intent. So it's like, ask yourself this question. When you do something, what is my intent of doing this? Like, start asking yourself this. What is my intent of doing what I'm doing? And if it's not a pure intent to do something from the goodness of your heart or whatever, then it's not going to play into your favor. It's really not. And that's like the whole purpose of karmic debt or whatever. Like, you can't really see it, but it's there or whatever. So it's like you can't fool the shit because it's energy based. Like, you can only get to heaven based on your intent and the things that you do with that intent. So if you're doing shit out of love to help motivate and enhance people, then 9 times out of 10, you're going to make it to heaven. That's just pretty much how it is. It's like you have to learn how, but at the same time, you have to learn how to protect that intent from the people with bad karmic debt. It's because they realize they ain't got shit to lose at this point, and they just gonna be stuck in one goddamn place until it's time for them to come back and keep repeating the same shit. So they just gonna fuck with you and test you to try to pull you down to their level, so your karmic debt can be in the negative with them. So it's like, y'all gotta look at the game for what it is. It's pretty much just, all this shit is karmic debt, meaning, what do you do throughout your life for the universe? Not man, not humans, not other people, but what do you do for the universe? Like, are you enhancing people to help the universe? No, remind civilization that, hey, I'm here. Y'all forgot about me or whatever. Or you just a money grabbing motherfucker like that's just focused on the physical world, but don't even realize whatever take place in the spiritual world, it's going to happen in the physical world later on down the line, because everything that happens in the physical, it already happened in the spiritual. It just takes time for it to translate from the spiritual to the physical. Like, time works completely different in the spiritual than the physical. Like, and that's how people get lost with all this shit with reincarnation and all that, because they don't understand who they are. So how can you explain reincarnation to other people when you yourself don't even know who you are? So how can you explain that? You got confused people trying to teach confused people. That is a recipe for disaster. But I'm going to leave it off on this note. We are going to continue reincarnation and karmic debt. It's going to be definitely a part 16 on this, because we could definitely get more deeper into this. So if you haven't already, please subscribe to The Mothership on Patreon. We offer readings literally every day. We offer other goodies. We offer so much shit on self-development. Like, there's not a day that goes by where we are not helping you self-develop and enhancing yourself. So please subscribe to The Mothership on Patreon. Like, whatever tier you subscribe to, you still gonna learn. Like, there's no shame in your game. Like, be a nerd. Be an individual that loves to grow, learn, and embrace life. Like, we all in this together or whatever. But a lot of people don't realize that shit. A lot of people only in this for themselves. And that's why karmic debt is real. You cannot trick the universe through karmic debt. There's no fraud, none of that shit for it. The universe know everything. So stop fighting it and just get your intent right in life. But at the same time, stay dangerous and protect that intent, people. I love you all. You all stay blessed as you always are.